This week's After Movie Diner comes from deep in the bowels of Albert Hall, the tiny, tiny man who does my guttering.
That's how you know the recording's begun.
Hello.
From now on.
Yeah, from now on, when
on.
Jim blows a raspberry, the diner is in session.
Yeah.
Good evening.
It's my gavel.
Good evening, gentlemen and men. Tonight, it's another episode.
I bet ladies listen to the podcast.
If ladies listen to the episode, please call us on 347-669-0053.
Is that your phone number?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
If there are any ladies listening, because I doubt that there are, but if they are, please call us at 347-669-0053. And now the After Movie Diner can commence. And this week, yet again, we're back with regular co-host, and co-host, Mr. James
Very
Wallace.
sweet of you to give me 3 titles.
Yes, I'm trying desperately to think of a witty way to introduce you that Stephen Fry hasn't done 100 times. It's very, very difficult. But
Is it because I don't have enough witty things, like, about me? You know what I mean?
if people could see you right now, it would be funnier than hearing you.
If I was more interesting, then you'd have wittier
You're
things to
very
say about me.
interesting.
I'm only like partially interesting.
I think there's bits of you.
I occasionally walk past interesting things.
There's a bit, you can't really see it, but just below your shoulder blade on the left-hand side that's absolutely riveting.
I really was looking as well.
Yeah, I know
I
you
thought
were.
maybe like a pigeon or two, because that's happened before.
But that wouldn't be something interesting about you. That would just be.
Yeah, but that says something about
pigeons poop on.
Yeah, I'm just like that says something about like how interesting my personality is. And you go, is there anything interesting about him? You go, he's got some poo on his shirt.
Got some poo on him. So, if you want to contact the diner, hello and welcome to the After Movie Diner. James is here. If you want to contact the diner, please call us at 347-669-0053 or email us at aftermoviediner@gmail.com.
If you can think of a more interesting way to introduce it,
If you could, yes, come up with a way to introduce James. In fact, that's the competition. Keep coming up with ways. Keep sending in emails of how to introduce James. I will use each one each week without James's knowledge, and the one that gets the best reaction at the end of 3 months or whatever. Considering you're all bloody useless at emailing me. But the one that gets the best reaction is the one that I will keep. How about that?
yeah, I like that.
And then you will have influenced the After Movie Diner. We are back.
So the social media firestorm.
Listen, if Ask Bobby Jindal can take off.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I wrote a really good one.
These things are so...
I wrote, Ask Bobby, I ate an entire lemon. Not really a question, but I thought it was worth noting. That got like 10 retweets. And then I had another one that said something along the lines of, what would happen if I welded together a bear and a mongoose with mind science or something? There was something like that. Oh yeah, and could I call him Lord of all the Clams? Ask Bobby. Then I realised that even though thousands of people had tweeted Ask Bobby, he hadn't replied to any of them. So I was like, what are you hiding, Mr. Jindal? And that. No, it was really good fun. I had a ball with it.
Oh, that's good, that's good.
I got a ton of followers from it as well, just by putting some like witty Ask Bobby stuff out
You
there.
really are. Good, thank you, man. In a couple of minutes.
Oh yeah, no, we're still looking. Sorry,
we're still looking,
we were
sorry.
chatting
We
away.
will-
My
we will
apologies,
get
sir.
there, we
My
will get there.
apologies.
I might get it now.
So we're back in the Market Diner,
Yes, we
which
are.
is one of our favourite diners. It's my favourite diner in New York City. We were going to go to the Westway Diner, but unfortunately it was a grade pending.
Yes.
So that
And we
had
don't
to
trust
be,
that.
had
It
to
could be a C.
Could be a C. So that had to be scrapped in favour of the
Should we
Market
explain?
Diner. No, it doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck? I think it's throughout the country now anyway. Do you know what I might do? I might go for the bolognese. Because I haven't had a good pasta in quite a while. I quite fancy the bolognese.
Sure. I've had the Carson City before. I think I had the grilled chicken sushi.
He was born in Carson City. It's a city by the
Copenhagen panini. Can't have that. It's probably nice.
It's probably got Copenhagen's in it.
Probably got Copenhagen.
Who wants Copenhagen's?
I don't know what I want.
Linguine carbonara. Do I go for the bolognese or do I go for the chicken, bacon, fettuccine alfredo? What do you reckon, dude?
I don't know.
Bolognese or chicken and bacon Alfredo? It's your choice. Pick one now.
Choice. Wait, what was the first one again?
Oh, this doesn't work unless you remember. Bolognese or chicken and bacon Alfredo?
And what's Alfredo again?
Creamy cheese.
Bolognese.
I'll go for the Alfredo then.
Yeah, thought so.
Thought so. No, actually, I've had bacon and chicken today. I'm going to go for the Bolognese.
I don't know what I want. I'm being fucking hopeless here.
Oh.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Meatball.
I'm going to get the spaghetti and meatballs.
Spaghetti and meatball.
Spaghetti and meatballs. Meatballs.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's a bit of a meatball.
I'm going to get the spaghetti and meatballs.
Okay, so after this hilarious intro, why don't you tell us what movie we saw tonight?
We saw a movie that I think wasn't it brought to our attention on the Facebook page by somebody? Did somebody throw us the trailer for it?
Well, two things. First, Brad Gullickson, one of my friends on Facebook and someone I met through the Philadelphia Comic Con, he and through the podcast and through his love of William Shatner, he saw it and posted a picture and said, I'm off to see this. But also someone on the Facebook group mentioned that they had watched it as well.
I see. Well, that's how we became
So that's how it
aware
kind
of
of came into my
And then it
transom.
seemed like it premiered like on a cable channel over here, right? Didn't it like premiere on Stars or something?
Oh, it's just on demand, isn't it? Or just...
Oh, maybe that's what it is. So it was on demand. So because they do that more and more these days, right? They're on demand in the cinemas like the same day.
Yeah, you can watch this on Amazon now for like $5, I think.
Okay. But
More fool us for paying $15 to see it in the cinema.
we were hopeful because it's been a while now, as you probably noticed, since we've been able to go to a cinema and see like a silly but fun, action-y movie.
Right, because we did San Andreas,
like a B
which
movie.
was obviously a big release.
Yeah.
And then we did...
Maggie
we did
Rice, like-
Vendetta, but then
Yeah,
that was playing at an art house cinema. That wasn't one of the like little weak ones.
No, it wasn't one of like a B movie. I guess it was a B movie though. But anyway,
But last week
we
they
were
had
very happy.
Burying the X, which you didn't see, but that was playing at the AMC on 42nd Street.
okay, I didn't want to see that because I can't stand you, Chekhov.
I love the hat that you call Anton Yelchin new Chekhov. I think that's awesome.
That's what I hate about them. That's what I hate about them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this week
very nice because it looked like it was going to be really fun, and we decided to go and see Big Game.
Big Game, which is from the director of Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale. That was his previous feature film.
Do I know that?
It's from Finland. It's the one where it's a bit similar actually. It's one where hunters try and capture Santa Claus, like the real Santa Claus.
Oh no, I've never. Okay.
Which is why it's sort of eerily similar because it's
Right.
a big catch by like big hunters kind of thing. But so he made a series of short films,
Right.
of which Rare Exports was one of them. He then blew that up into a feature, and then this is his second feature film, Big Game, based on a book by Dan Smith or Dan something or other.
No, I don't think so. I think it was based on an original story by him and somebody else.
No. It was definitely based on a book. The movie was definitely based on a book. Definitely 100%. Because I read it not only in the IMDb stuff, but also on the screen at the end.
No,
of
I
the
know that,
movie.
but I think the thing at the end was like you can read the. Okay, I mean maybe.
The book came first. Definitely the book
I
came
could have
first.
sworn, like in the titles of the opening movie, it said based on an original story by the director and some other Finnish guy.
Oh, okay.
Like I could have sworn that was in the credits.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
It's a story. I can't imagine it was a particularly riveting book, but whatever.
I guess it might have had a bit. It might have had a bit more like.
It's the most
hunting.
expensive movie at $8.5 million budget. It's the most expensive movie ever made in Finland.
Wow. Okay.
And it had its week release at the AMC 25 up on Screening Room 10. And
We were there?
We were there.
Not
We
in an
saw
empty
it.
cinema?
Not in an empty cinema. Good crowd.
Who
What?
seemed to enjoy the movie?
They were laughing.
Yeah.
They were enjoying
They had a
it.
good time.
They had a good time. And it's sort of, what is it, sort of a wilderness adventure movie. It's not quite an action movie, is it? It's more of a sort of wilderness drama chase kind of movie.
Yeah, it's like what's that one with Berenger and Kirstie Alley in it. From the 80s. Benj knows. Beringer and Poitier.
What?
In the wilderness, hunting for something, like a criminal. Beringer and Poitier. Beringer's like the rugged hunter type.
Right.
Poitier's the,
No idea.
suited FBI agent
No
or
idea.
whatever. And they go hunting somebody in the wilderness. I can't remember what it's called, but it's that's the kind of the movie it is.
Yeah.
The movie that James is referring to is the 1988 classic Shoot to Kill, directed by Roger Spottiswoode and written by Harv Zimmel.
But like Survival Quest, Don Coscarelli's Survival Quest, and what were those books? We used to have them at junior school, and he wrote like a million of them. They were like Panda Adventure, and they were always something adventure. Like
Wilbur Smith?
Wilbur Smith, that's it. It was kind of like a Wilbur Smith book.
Yeah, it was a bit Wilbury, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've never used it
Because
before.
he used to like write books about that.
It
Didn't
was
he?
like big game
Tree
hunting,
Adventure
yeah.
and-
It was that kind of feel to
Yeah.
it. Oh yeah, so we're ready now. Can I get the spaghetti and meatballs? I'm going to need whatever. I'm sure I'm going to have neither. I'm just going to have the spaghetti and meatballs. That's fine.
That's it?
Yeah, that's a lot for me.
Pappardelle Bolognese, please.
No soup, no salad.
No, I'll have some salad with some ranch dressing on it.
And could I get a cup of chamomile tea or green tea? Chamomile would be great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. So,
But we should say
the basic plot. Oh, we should say what? Yeah.
we should
Okay.
say should you watch this movie?
Should you watch this movie? Is it something you want to see before you listen to the podcast? I don't know. Listen to Jim and me.
That was good.
No, it was really bad. But carry on. That's
it
fine.
rhymed. It had a tune. You pulled it out of nowhere. I am properly impressed.
Okay, fantastic.
By that theme tune.
So, Jim, why don't you tell us? Would you recommend
Yes, you
this?
absolutely should go and see this film.
Yes, they should.
Yes, because
But will we spoil it? Like, if you listened to the podcast before you went to see it, would we really spoil it?
no, there's nothing to spoil. I don't think.
There's nothing to spoil.
There's no real. There's no.
One of the big twists.
you see
is
coming from the beginning.
Well, no, but one of the big twists is revealed. The Ray Stevenson twist, let's just call it that,
Yeah,
is in the trailer.
fine. And it's pretty obvious from like the first thing you see.
And the
It's
second
not
twist,
in Finland.
which
The first thing you see in England
the second
is here.
twist we don't really need to talk about until the end of the podcast.
Fine. Okay.
Right?
And again, even that wouldn't.
The second twist we'll talk about in the last 10 minutes of the show.
I guess that might spoil it a little bit, that twist.
Yeah,
knowing
so
that.
we will not reveal the second twist until the last
Fine,
bit of the
agree.
podcast. So if you want to listen to the first 45
And
minutes,
stay tuned, because Crossy will invent a brand new theme tune for Here Comes the Thing that we said earlier would
Yeah.
maybe perhaps ruin the movie.
yeah, I probably will do that. I probably will if
Yeah.
I have any time.
Yeah,
on
you probably
Sunday.
will.
I
Yeah.
probably will do
Stay
that.
tuned, listeners.
Stay tuned. It's going to be exciting stuff.
It will
So
be,
big
yeah.
game.
I will periodically update you as to how far away I think we are from that moment.
Yeah, but no, I would agree with you, Jim. I would say that people should go see this film.
Yes. If you like fun, it's quite kind of it's almost like 70s Disney family film, kind of almost like bits in it.
Yeah, it's a PG-13 movie. There's nothing in it that would really like.
But like it's got that spirit of like, it's about, it does have that like 70s
Put it this
Disney
way,
like adventure film.
Even
right?
though it was Finnish, I didn't want it to finish.
No! And there's the headline.
Finland, Finland, Finland.
I was thinking about that quite a
The
lot.
country where I quite want to be, pony trekking or camping. And this was actually filmed in the Alps and
Alps.
not in the Finnish mountains at all.
Filmed in Bavaria.
Not in
so a
that.
lot of German people in the.
It was meant to be filmed in Lapland.
Right.
Lapland, but when they went and scouted Lapland, they were like, nah, not what I'm looking for. And so they went to the Alps instead.
Cool.
But it put the beans on the screen, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I have to say, given that it was like a Finnish movie, it looked spectacular.
Will you finish already? Sorry. I'm not going to get tired of that.
Keep score of the Finnish pun jokes The correct answer at the end of the podcast
is many. The correct answer at the end of the podcast is yes, lots.
Yes, many. So
Basic
anyway,
plot, dude.
we should. Yes, you should see it. Basic plot. Well, no, you should do the basic plot.
Okay, I'll do basic plot because I'm so much better at it.
You are loads better at it than I am.
Loads better. So anyway, there was apparently a Finnish tradition by which at the turning of your 13th year, you are sent as a boy out into the wilderness to hunt your first deer or whatever you come across.
Find. I think the idea is you get sent out into the forest for one day and one night.
One day and one night.
And whatever
with
you
a
come
bow and
back
arrow,
with,
and whatever you come back with, it makes you a man. And you get a picture taken, and it goes up on the wall.
Yeah, with like a rat. So the opening of the movie is him looking at pictures on the wall. And some are holding rabbits, some are holding deer.
And his dad hunted a bear. His dad is known as the greatest Finnish hunter of all time because he finished well. And he killed a bear.
Yes.
There is not much hope in the young lad.
We don't know that.
Well, no, we do. When we get to the mountaintop and they're about to send him off.
But that's what's quite neat, because at the beginning of it, when he's talking to his
Can
dad.
I finish the plot?
Sorry.
And then we can go back.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So there's not much hope in the lad.
No.
Meanwhile, flying overhead on his way to a G8 summit, the president in Air Force
equally
One.
hopeless.
The equally hopeless. I was going to get to that point.
Sorry.
But the equally hopeless, and in fact on the front page of the newspaper that day, lame duck president, and there was lots of references to he can't even do a push-up, let alone run the country and all the rest of it. Lame duck president is played by Samuel L. Jackson, is flying overhead and about to make his descent down into Helsinki for a pre-G8 summit with his right-hand Secret Service agent, played by former Punisher and now one of the Thor
Did he really
lot.
play the
He
Punisher?
did. He played Punisher in Warzone.
I know he's a big guy.
No, he's awesome in Punisher Warzone. It's the best Punisher movie. It's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, you'd love it. Directed by a chick as well, but it's super violent. And I heard the chick interviewed, and she was like, she had done one little art movie, and then she was like, Marvel came to her to do the Punisher, and she was like, she read loads of Punishers, and then she just said, well, I guess I go all out then, and she went like, really all out, and there's like decapitations in it, and it's one of Patton Oswalt's favourite movies. Anyway, so Ray Stevenson is playing Secret Service agent, Samuel L. Jackson is the president, and we presume a terrorist mastermind rocks up on a mountain in Finland and fires a Chinese missile at Air Force One and all the little planes around it, bringing it all down into the sea, and before into a lake, into a fjord. Before they can do that, the president is pushed into an escape pod and lands, conveniently enough, right by the little boy who's spending his night in the forest. The chase is then on. The little boy has to protect the President of the United States while also learning lots of values along the way, as does the President. And Ray Stevenson, who is the turncoat, as is revealed in the plot, that he is the turncoat, the man on the inside, he and the supposed lunatics are chasing the President behind throughout the woods, and hijinks ensue. That's kind of the setup, right?
Yeah, that's succinctly put.
So the kid has
Apart from the bits where I interrupted.
The kid has to become a man, and the president has to become a man, and
Has to become a president.
yeah, and they have to overthrow the evil, strokey beard.
Well, they have to beat the odds and survive, don't they?
Right.
That's what they have to do.
Right.
It becomes a matter for the kid, rather than a matter of him hunting anything, it becomes a matter of him
Surviving, right? Because on top of everything in the forest trying to get at them, they've also got Mammoth Stevenson, his machine gun, and his
No wildlife, though.
yeah, there was none of that in the movie at all, was there? Look at that, fit for a king. Thank you so much, sir. A wonderful salad served here at the Market Diner. I highly recommend it.
Should have got the salad in, shouldn't I?
Look at this. Look, they've even cut the cucumber into a nifty shape.
Oh yeah, that's super cool.
And little cherry
I
tomatoes.
feel bad I didn't get the salad now.
You can have some of mine. Do you
No,
want me
it's
to
all right.
not put ranch on something?
No, I like lunch.
Ray Stevenson's character took a bullet for the Prez and has a bit of shrapnel edging towards his heart.
It turns out, and pretty quickly, that he betrays the president, and it seems like he betrays it because he took a bullet for like a shit president. It's basically what it is. It's like, what if you took a bullet for George W.
Right.
And like right at the beginning of his presidency, and then he thought, what the hell did I do?
But Gerard Butler went through all that just to save Aaron Eckhart. I would have let Eckhart die, even though that's a super fun.
Yeah, but we don't know what he's like as a president. Presumably he's pretty good. Whereas we're told categorically that Samuel L. Jackson's a shit president.
Yeah, we're told that everyone is against him.
Yeah, everybody hates him. Nobody loves him. And he is a bit, One of the best things about the whole movie, I think, is how much fun Jackson has being a bit crap.
Yeah, being beaten up. I mean, he is beaten up in this movie. If you went in expecting Samuel L. Jackson, like, throwing the F-bomb around and beating people up, you would be disappointed.
Because that's what's cool.
And I think that's probably why it has a 5.6 on IMDb, is because people went in expecting a different movie.
Yeah, I agree, because I think what the nice thing about it is, just like I was expecting the kid to be like a really great hunter and together they'll band together, blah, 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 but actually they're both a bit crap. The kid's a bit of a crap hunter, and Samuel L. Jackson is a bit, he's crap at everything. But what's cool about Jackson when he fights in the movie is that he isn't very good at it, but he doesn't give in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is really nice, but he does get the crap beat out of him. And just like the kid, it's more about not giving in than anything else. But really, the relationship between...
Also, the director is super into hero shots. There's multiple slow-mo hero shots with the camera like whipping around the Alps and big stirring music, which I couldn't get enough of.
Yeah, it was
I was
really
loving
fun.
the beat.
Because they weren't set up as heroes. So whenever there was a hero shot, when there was a hero shot, they'd really earned it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or it was a part of their own mythology in their head. Like it was almost as if the hero shot was happening in their head in order to, G themselves up for whatever it was they were about to do.
And even Stevenson, I thought, even though he was meant to be the guy who could overpower, played his weakness very well. Played the fact that he was wheezy and had to keep taking painkillers and but he actually did that really well.
Yeah, there was like a sense of them all carrying like something that they couldn't ever get rid of.
Right.
But it was a matter of like coming through to the end of it. But it was like I really, really, really enjoyed it a lot.
Me too, a lot.
And again, well,
because it was filled with like joyful daring do. Like it was just filled with sort of just, and even when he did sit down around a bonfire and talk about like Finnish tradition and some incident that he had as president that embarrassed him or whatever, it was just kind of like I could have sat and watched them just chat.
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
true.
Like, it was just kind of charming, and he's like chomping on this mouldy-looking sausage.
I mean, it was pretty cliche, but it was a good story, and it was well told, and I believed it. And it was really nice at the end where he goes, "There's only two people in the world who know that: me, and now you." Yeah. It was just like a really nice. It was a bit cliche, but it was really nice, and everything about it worked. And the cliche.
What worked is that Jackson had no problem looking weak.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the kid on the buggy with Jackson on the back, wrapped in like this ridiculous 70s blanket.
Yeah.
Looking a bit like E.T. because he had like the blanket over his head.
Yeah, he did.
It was awesome, and I was just like, it really endeared me to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he knew that by showing all the weaknesses of this person, you'd actually, like the audience would actually be with you, not against you.
I tell you when I knew I was going to like him, when he's trapped inside the escape hatch, right? The kid comes up to the escape hatch and he knocks on the escape hatch and Jackson knocks back, and then Jackson starts to write something on the inside of the
It's the
glass.
password, isn't it, for the door?
Right. But
he writes it backwards.
He starts off by writing it in front of himself, but you're seeing it from the kid's point of view, so you see it being written backwards. And then there's nothing else. You just see him then rubbing it out and then writing it like very slowly and carefully backwards. And I just thought that was so neat. There was no reason to do it except that it was a little. visualise him in there going, what the fuck are you doing? He can't read that. Write it the right way round.
Right.
And it was just, and right after the kid punched in the code, and the thing came open, and the kid ran away.
Yeah.
You know, and that whole sequence of Jackson writing it the wrong way around, and then rubbing it out and writing it so the kid could read it, then the thing opening and the kid running away, and then rather than like standing there going, who are you, what do you want, or whatever, just running away, Jackson coming out, and then the kid throwing the old-fashioned, tin can and a bit of string on it.
Well, it was a plastic cup, and he fired it with a little arrow.
That's right, and Jackson, they have a conversation. Jackson can't see the kid. The kid's somewhere in the undergrowth.
Jackson goes, no, don't hang up. And then he looks at the cup and goes, hang up? What the hell am I talking about? Which was lovely.
It was that whole sequence was really, really, really well done. And all of it was like that. It was, if there were cliches, it was because like the characters earned them, and they were to some extent relying on those cliches to like keep themselves sane in a bit of a mad situation.
And you know what? At no point, because I was halfway through, I had to consciously thought to myself, am I bothered that there isn't more action in this?
Yeah.
And actually, what the answer came back was, no, I'm just having fun watching this chase movie.
Yeah, I think you're right. It became I had the same thought when they went into the plane right at the end. I thought, we're getting close to the end now, and there hasn't been a lot of action. But then I thought, yeah, but like they're not. All they've had to do is survive.
Right.
There's no obstacles specifically to overcome or anything. There's no journey they have to take. They just have to survive, and they've had an adventure, and they've been like tough and strong and shown like ingenuity or whatever while they were surviving. So you're right. I started to enjoy it like a chase movie, or like I say, like one of those old Disney family action kind of things. Where it's just
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, like a well put together like family adventure. It's an adventure movie,
right? It's an adventure movie, and right at the very end, there is a sort of like spy movie double cross.
Right.
That kind of sort of weirdly makes the movie so much better.
Yeah, like Brian Cox.
Brian Cox
in the Bourne films.
Right.
The whole like.
Oh, we haven't even mentioned that yet. So, while they're all being chased, you've got
the
Victor Garber as the vice president.
Yeah, and
you've got Ted Levine.
Ted Levine, he's amazing.
He's amazing.
What's with his voice?
Well, he always had a deep voice. He was Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, Buffalo Bill. But I didn't realise that until right at the end of the movie. But he had the most amazing voice as the general guy.
And the best thing I liked about the general thing was, because we've talked about this before, in these movies you need the shouty general who's doing the thing. Yeah. And in this movie, he was a bit shit. Like everyone was sort of a bit shit.
Yeah, they were. That's true.
And like at no point was there sort of a big, Marine strike that failed. It's just he was always sending the Marines to like the wrong place and they're 30 minutes out and stuff. They were all just a bit shit, which I enjoyed. Also, Ted Levine looked like he could barely fit in his uniform, like his neck and his face and everything like was just sort of bulging out of the collars of his uniform. So he was constantly like. Brrr! And then there was this fantastic bit when they cut back halfway through and he's stuffing his face with Chinese food.
Oh, I don't remember that.
He had a big carton of food that he was eating out of.
Oh, yeah.
And he put down to like give another ridiculous speech and his hair was all over the place.
Yeah.
It was a delight of acting. And then, to top it all off,
inspired bit of casting.
As the greatest CIA covert operative of all time.
They chose
Jim Broadbent.
And it was amazing.
I presume, his own clothes.
Yeah, he looked like...
Because how many movies has he been in?
He looked like he wandered in
that.
He looked like he wandered in out of an Alan Bennett play. He walked in wearing his Alan Bennett clothes, eating a sandwich.
He'd been having sandwiches with Bennett. They called him up and he went, sorry Alan, I've just got to go and do this part in a Finnish movie. All right, Jim, go do it. He was
brilliant.
Brilliant.
He was easily the best cameo I've seen.
Shuffling in with his tweedy jacket and his corduroy trousers and his old 50s sweater vest, shuffling about, eating a sandwich, talking about
The only disappointing
I was
thing,
like,
and it was only slightly, it would have been, like, I know it would have been a bridge too far, but he may as well have had his own voice. Like, he was putting on an American accent, but if he'd wandered in with his Jim Broadbent,
Right.
with that outfit, he'd just said, and this is the greatest CIA analyst of all time. You know what I mean? Like, nobody went, are you sure? It was
the greatest.
and he was so good
and then
as well, 'cause he
Felicity
didn't-
Huffman.
Yeah,
And I was like, why is she in there? All right, fine.
yeah, that was just.
So you've got Samuel L. Jackson, Ray Stevenson, a bunch of people who appeared in Rare Exports, a lot of Finnish actors, who all have the most amazing faces ever to
Well,
exist.
there was the Finnish Nick Nolte, and there was the Finnish Michael Gambon. Were there others? I think we only came up with Michael Gambon.
There was just a whole bunch.
There was a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
They were a delight as well, and that like they were allowed to speak Finnish, and there were subtitles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And the big heroic like St. Crispin's Day speech type thing was done in Finnish,
Right.
with the music.
Yeah, because the
going
whole
and
what
the fucking
first
Alps behind it and
first
stuff.
10 minutes of the movie all in Finnish.
Right, which I just like everything about the movie. I was just enjoying.
Yeah, it
there
was
wasn't
really
anything
enjoyable.
about it that I was like nothing in the movie bugged.
There was lots of good jokes in it too.
Right.
Like genuinely funny moment.
And also,
Like Jackson being funny, and it's been a while. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of The Bagman, in that it's been such a long time since I saw Jackson be like really good in something. I guess
he
The
was
Avengers.
really good in
But
it.
he was really good in this, like properly, not just hi, I've turned up and I'm Samuel L. Jackson, but like actually playing a part.
you got the feeling that all the people in it, because it was such a mad cast, were sort of in love with it. Do you know what I mean? You got the idea that they were like, this is an $8 million Finnish movie, right? I get to hang out in the Alps or whatever, you know, but I kind of love it, and I kind of just want to do this thing. Because he was so charming
Yeah.
as the sort of hapless president.
Yeah, he was really, really good, and he was definitely playing a part. And if he hadn't,
And
if he'd
Stevenson
just
was
been
playing his Hulk-like baddie to the cheap seats. I mean, he was belting out the...
He was really, really
I'm
good.
a big, gruff, lumbering bad guy with a wound in his chest. Like, he was really...
Yeah, about to like about to fall down or
Right.
drop dead like any minute, you know, like a real wounded animal, but like
some
dangerous.
great stunts as well, because when you saw Stevenson on the edge of the helicopter, like firing down, when you saw the long shots, especially when they had the, because at one point, and this I thought was a really touching scene. I thought this was a really great scene. At one, the dad has given the kid a map and said the best. This is our little secret. The best place to go to hunt deer in the morning, if you stay beneath the wind, is this little alcove in the mountains that I'm going to put on the map. So they rock up there in the morning, him and the president, only to find this generator-run refrigerator in which the dad has put a deer head, right?
The stag, yeah.
Stag head with like "Happy Birthday, son." in it. And obviously, like, the son gets really upset because he's like, even my dad doesn't believe in me. Even my dad is giving me a fake chance of coming home a hero, and I don't want a fake chance of coming home a hero. I want to come home a hero, and he doesn't believe in me. I was like, that's so well done.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked that bit of detail. But anyway, it allows them to have this like refrigerator, which they hang below the helicopter. Samuel L. Jackson gets in. This is also in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. The little kid runs off the side of the mountain, jumps on top of the refrigerator, and it's carried by the helicopter across this fjord with like Ray Stevenson on the outside of it, like leaning down and shooting and stuff. And all the long shots of that, although it was obviously done by stuntmen, looked really good, because it wasn't like you saw the long shot and there wasn't a kid on top of the refrigerator, or they just kind of blurred it out, whatever. Like, all the players you could see really crisply and cleanly in the photography of it, and it just added to the realism of it. And whoever stunt doubled Stevenson looked the spit of him.
That's that.
Thanks. Look at that.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Some parmesan? Oh, you've got it there. Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank Thank you. Cheers. Thank you very much.
After you, Jim. So, whoever doubled Stevenson looked the business because I couldn't tell the difference. Like, it looked really good from the long shots to the close-up of him on the helicopter. And I kind of love the fact that all these actors, like, I can't get over the fact that a lot of these actors basically got paid nothing to mess around in a Finnish movie, just so that they, like, so it got made kind of thing.
I think you're right.
I just kind of love that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, out of 8 million, considering that there's either a full-scale model or full-scale CGI of the Air Force One. You see a plane crash, there's a bunch of huge explosions, there's people running around the mountain.
Plenty of
like, the money's on the screen.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's shot, like I said, the beans are on the screen, because it is shot stunningly. I mean, it is so beautiful, it's ridiculous.
Actually, I had a good feeling about it, because right at the beginning, when they were panning over all the mountains, and the music was amazing.
I love the music.
Like, that kind of music makes you go, oh, I missed, like, really good, like, powerful, like, sound.
Yeah, it was proper Hollywood, the beans. That's what I liked about it.
And also and the tune was amazing, and it made you go, I really want to see a story in this place.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, like I say, they obviously really searched their spot specifically because the director had something very definite in mind.
Yeah.
And when he found it, he really used it. He really did. The whole thing was shot beautifully. And there was only a couple of bits where you could see the kind of back projection and or outline that there was like a fake background during a stunt or something.
Right.
And it really never took me out of the picture. And there was only like a couple of moments. Apart from that, the stunts and the action and everything like that was pretty seamless, I thought. Like the shot of Air Force One with all the fighter jets around it, like it looked like really good.
I didn't even think about most of it.
I was like,
do you know what I mean? I didn't think, that, you know, what a great stunt, or that looks good, I wonder how they did that. I just was totally swept along in the movie.
Part of the story, right.
You know? And
I can only assume the reason why people haven't enjoyed this as much is because they were expecting something that it's not. They were expecting Samuel L. Jackson as the president.
And if he turned up as Jackson and kicked ass as Jackson, it would have been a far less entertaining movie.
Right. I think you and I both got our entertainment out of the characters and the story, as well as the scenery and everything else. But like, we weren't expecting him to.
I think it's because we got on board with the idea of them being a bit crap,
right?
Rather than Jackson being a kick-ass president, or the kid being a kick-ass. Because I thought, the kid's a kick-ass hunter and he needs to shepherd, this, president, whatever, who could still be pretty tough but out of his element. But it wasn't that. It was about like two people who hadn't lived up to expectations. Like, right. The kid didn't live up to his dad's expectations. Jackson hadn't lived up to the country's expectations, the world's expectations, and they were placed in a situation where they had to survive. It was do or die, and they did it. They were tested, and they also came through it, and that was the pleasure of the movie. That was the adventure of the movie.
I couldn't get enough of them ejector seating out of the plane.
That was fucking cool, yeah.
We interrupt this podcast to say hello, valued listener. Thank you ever so much for finding and listening to this episode of the After Movie Diner. Well done, you. Give yourself a quick, swift, round pat on the back. We do hope you're enjoying the show, but even if you're not, or if you are, if you've got a question, or if you've got a suggestion, why don't you drop us a line over at aftermoviediner@gmail.com. That's aftermoviediner@gmail.com. Maybe you don't want to write a long, cumbersome email. Maybe you have problems with your spelling. Maybe you don't have an email address because you're old and infirmed and still living in the 1970s in a pair of plaid pants in an orange room. Well, if that's the case, then why not give us a call over at 347-669-0053 and leave us a voicemail in your very own dulcet tones. That's 347-669-0053. Of course, maybe you don't want to spend the money on a whole long phone call. Well, we do have a free voicemail service at speakpipe.com. That's www.speakpipe.com/aftermoviediner, and use your computer, laptop, tablet, or whatever to leave us a 90-second voicemail over at Speak. That's what I'm doing with my mouth. Pipe. That's what plumbers do when they plumb.com/aftermoviediner. After Movie Diner and let us know what you think of the show. Now, while SpeakPipe might be completely and utterly free for you to use, what isn't completely and utterly free is producing one of these shows each week. There's obviously the movie to pay for, the diner to pay for, the website to pay for, there's the editing man hours, and so on and so on. The list goes on. And I know that you're all listening to this thinking, how can I contribute, sponsor, or become a patron of the After Movie Diner? Well, it's quite simple. You go to www.patreon.com, that's patreon.com/After Movie Diner. You're hopefully noticing a pattern by now, and donate to the show up to $1 per show or 70p if you're living in the UK, and that would go a great way to helping us produce this fantastic show each week. So that's www.patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Failing all those things, you don't want to do any of those things, why not rate and review us on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you find the show. It really, really would help. Thank you very much for listening to this short but definitely not pointless message, and now back to the regular programme.
There was also a couple of scenes in this where the director clearly had some awesome ideas. Like Stevenson coming out of the plane backwards and then watching as the rocket shot up towards Air
my
Force
God, that
One.
was so cool.
And instead of seeing the plane explode right there, you just saw it behind the clouds.
Yeah.
You just saw the gold and the orange of the explosion.
It reminded me a little bit of that, of the scene in Godzilla where they jump into the city and they don't know what's underneath it. It was kind of that kind of feel, but it was because you didn't know it was coming when he jumped out of the back.
He just kind of fell out the back
was so cool.
with his hands across his chest. It was also, though, it had plenty cool moments.
Oh, yeah.
The kid diving away from the exploding plane, and
That was very cool.
that was really well done. Lots of slow-mo, but very nicely done.
Yeah.
Great performances. A wonderful, seemingly hand-wringing, goatee beard villain in a leather jacket who wants to stuff and mount the president like he's
That was very cool.
a moose or something.
I mean, that was the other cool bit. The kid was amazing, and he looked unbelievably Finnish. I didn't even know that Finnish people looked like something, especially.
Right. Well, they're kind of that
Finnish.
kind of Scandinavian Nordic kind of.
But he looked, for some reason in my head, specifically Finnish.
Right.
And
he had a real, and he's 50% of the movie, if not more so.
Yeah.
Not 75% of the movie. If he doesn't work, the movie doesn't work.
No, and him and Jackson are really, really good together. They have a really good on-screen chemistry where they are just like you say. Often they're just sitting around a campfire, or they never really figure anything out. They're just trying to stay alive and not give up on each other. That's what it is. It's try to stay alive and not give up on yourself or the other.
Right.
That's probably what, more than anything, I'd say the moral, if there is one, of the movie seems to be don't give up.
Right.
Never give up, and don't give up on your friends.
And I didn't I don't know whether I'm getting an older man or what it is, or whether I've just lived in America too long. I don't mind stuff being a little sweet. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you.
I don't mind stuff being a little cozy, as you would say. I really. It wasn't the movie that I was expecting.
No, me neither.
But I actually, I loved it for that reason.
Yeah, you're right. I really enjoyed it. It's been a long time since, certainly you and I saw something in the cinema that surprised us.
Right.
Where, we knew really, really soon on that we were going to enjoy the hell out of this movie.
Right.
That we were in safe hands.
And it's the opposite of Maggie. Because Maggie, we both went in with expectations of Maggie, because it was Arnold Schwarzenegger zombie movie, and it didn't pay any of them off at all in any way at all, and only disappointed us. This, on the other hand, was no, listen, it's a Finnish movie. It's not going to be an American movie. Sit back and enjoy the Finnishness of it. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. That's having it open up with them talking in Finnish and with the subtitles. There was a feeling of immediately being in another world, and whatever the president's going to have to go through. Yeah, it's lovely. Thanks so much. He's going to have to go through it in Finland, and so you're right. You feel like you're in a different. It wasn't picture postcard stuff, but the same old action is going to take place in front of a slightly different backdrop.
Right.
it's things are going to be a little bit different here, you know.
No, I super liked it. I really, really liked it. And Jim Broadbent shuffling about being the world's greatest CIA agent just made me endlessly happy.
And once again, the trailers for the movie before, most of the trailers were movies I wanted to see. They even managed to turn, because we've complained about the Hitman trailer before, right?
Right. Well, you have.
I have. Right.
Because I just won't watch it at all.
No, I won't either. But I will say they released another trailer where they went, okay, well, that first trailer obviously didn't work. Because I thought, well, he's
not coming out till August. I swear it's been being fucking advertised since last Christmas.
Well, they advertised it in this really weird way where they tried to advertise it as like, this is what happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and he's a really bad dude. And then you'd watch the film, and then you'd find out, oh no, he's not a bad dude actually, blah blah blah. But that didn't work because no one. Obviously, people had the same reaction as me. Anyway, they did another trailer of the film where they gave everything away. And just like with the Terminator Genesis trailer, where I saw the Terminator Genesis trailer, I was like, no, that won't be much good. And then they gave everything away, and I thought, actually, I quite want to see that.
Right.
And similarly with Hitman, well, I don't actually really want to see it. But if it came on now, I'd probably give it a watch, because it's,
right.
It might be all right. And what else? Ant-Man looks pretty good. There was something really
Man from
good.
Uncle, Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible looked amazing. I hadn't seen a trailer for it, but Mission Impossible looked unbelievably good. I fucking love that franchise, other than Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah, but even that one I'll take just for Anthony Hopkins being a big ham.
It's been a long time since
I
I've
hate
seen it.
Doug Ray Scott, but I love Anthony Hopkins and Tandy Newton and I don't mind John Woo's over-the-top bike chase fight either.
No, it's the tango bit in the middle. God, that made me angry. I remember that. But anyway, another example of when the trailers are shit before a movie, the movie's shit. When the trailers are good, the movie's good.
I'll tell you what else I thought as well. I was like, here's a chance where a little like Finnish indie guy who'd done a bunch of short films that had led up various festivals, right? And then he'd done this movie that had been, I think, a moderate hit on like Netflix or whatever around about a few years back now. Because there was a whole bunch, like, that one came out, Troll Hunter came out.
Oh, yeah.
There was like the Norwegian Ninja or something came out. Like there was a whole bunch of sort of weird Scandinavian...
Dead Snow.
Yeah, Dead Snow. Weird Scandinavian genre movies that kind of all came out around about the same time.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 years. And I'm sure there's a whole like Euro-exploitation now that people are...
Yeah.
Or Scandinavian exploitation or whatever they're calling it. Subgenre now. But because there's enough of them, and they were all on Netflix, that he hasn't been given a whole lot of money, but he's been given a bit of money, and he's been given these Hollywood stars, and he really threw it all up on the screen. Like, he really did the business.
He did.
And it was so nice to see an indie director actually take the reins. And yeah, it's obviously clearly playing in his wheelhouse of his previous movies about hunting and in the woods and blah, 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 blah. But he properly put it all up on the screen and showed he could do something.
I'm a bit disappointed that, like, I get that... like, I read some reviews of it, and they were, like, being well sniffy. And I was a bit like, well, how could you be sniffy about it? It's so good-natured.
Right.
Like, at best, you should be able to say, well, it wasn't really my cup of tea.
Right.
But, like, being sniffy about it seems a bit, like...
Yeah, but someone told me today that loads of people gave Maggie a good review, and I'm like, I don't even understand how that's possible. Yeah, so... just shows you, man.
Ugh. Critics.
But, like, you watch Maggie, and you're like, there's no way anyone can enjoy this. Yet it got loads of reviews.
But what I'm saying, what is there to enjoy a movie? Like, honestly...
People really like greyness.
But nothing, literally nothing happened.
People are a big fan of greyness. But anyway. Likewise, I don't know how anyone comes out of this movie. Even if you go into this movie expecting an action movie,
right?
Get what you
Which
get.
I was. But I'm glad it wasn't, actually.
No, me too. Come out and be a bit disappointed. I still don't know how you come out of this movie and hate it or be sniffy about it. You might say it wasn't an action movie, But at the very least, it was beautifully scored, beautifully shot.
Yeah, beautifully
And
acted.
everyone was having a bundle of laughs being in it.
It's definitely the best I've seen Jackson be in a long, long time.
Right.
mean,
I feel like this is what, because he tried to do the whole B-movie thing with Snakes on a Plane, and it kind of backfired because it sort of became a parody of itself.
Right.
And it was a bit like Sharknado. Everyone was really looking forward to it, and then they saw it and went, oh, yeah, that's kind of what we were expecting, but now we're a bit disappointed. Whereas this is him playing around in like the B-movie field again, and I think this was a lot more successful. And in a weird way, it's because he wasn't walking around being Samuel Mother Flubbin Jackson, right?
Yeah, he was
being himself.
And seeing him being vulnerable like that, but also like a feeling about holding it together for the kid,
right?
Like to make sure the kid was looked after, and then the kid holding it together to make sure the president was looked after. It was just really nice, and it was just, in the end it ended up being about like a friendship,
right?
Of these two guys who had spent their lives, one short, one long, like letting people down,
right,
and being disappointed, and not only finding like a kindred spirit out there in the world, like so they didn't feel as alone, but also in the worst moment of their life, like the biggest trouble they're in, they're like someone there to like take care of them.
And before people think that it was just sort of a serious, sweet family movie,
no,
there was plenty of like lunacy in it. You know what I mean? There was plenty about it that was very B-movie, but because I kind of love that, I'm not coming down on it for that. I'm not sitting there and going, well, of course there was a lot of mentions of I'm the President of the United States, because that's what you want. Like, you want people from America playing the President to go around going, I'm the goddamn President of the United States. You know what I mean? Like, and you want that. Like, I look for that. That's what I loved about Olympus Has Fallen, because it was just so overwrought with that patriotic fervor that I kind of... Because if it wasn't, it doesn't work. Like, if you don't have him like on that pedestal, or if you don't have that mean something,
right,
even in a chest thumpy patriotic flag waving way, then the whole like joke that the kid supersedes him, and the whole fact that it's his birthday and he's doing this thing, he's on a mission and blah 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 blah, none of that carries any weight, because if he's not the Flubbin President of the United States, then it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make it any sense. You have to kind of imbue him with that, the iconic status of the Office, because he has also had to have let down the Office. So without, do you know what I mean? Like so it didn't bother me, that whole B-movie trope or cliche.
No, I mean I think the beautiful part of it. The thing for me is, right, I like a good B-movie. Like I love a good B-movie.
Right.
But if you're going to make a good B-movie, then what you've got to do is you've got to take the tropes, because the point about a B-movie is, to one degree or another, it's comforting, right? So you know what you're going to get, and you're taken along on a ride, taken along on an adventure. So you have the, like you say, the tropes, the cliches, the genre, the patterns that you recognise and feel comfortable in. So ultimately, what have you got that's going to make it live? That's going to make it really. Because you can just give the people what they want. But we both know that doesn't work. Like, you try and do that, and if your movie doesn't have a heart, doesn't have a soul, it's not going to connect with people. And they're going to recognise that they're being pandered to, and they're not going to like it. All the best horror movies, all the best horror B movies, they're generic, and you, to one degree or another, you're being pandered to. But there's something in the middle of it. The difference between Halloween and It Follows is that in the middle of that is Carpenter's like connecting with something that he doesn't quite understand and wants to explore, whatever, but there's something human in the middle of it. And like in this one, what makes this a good B movie is there's something human in the middle of it. Like you say, that's like sweet, and you feel connected to. You feel connected to the characters, and so you feel it doesn't. The fact that there are tropes and cliches, if they're done well, and they're happily the characters that you care about, then you're going to enjoy the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's not that common either.
No.
That people can pull that off.
No.
To put likeable people and people you care about
Right.
in a fun.
But it's like with, because there've been a lot of these recently though. If you think about it, there's Olympus Has Fallen, there's White House Down. Obviously, 24 did it a lot, but there's been quite a few with like the President in Trouble kind of movies.
Yeah, ever since Air Force One, I guess.
Air Force One was the first one, I imagine.
Escape from New York, which we were talking about before.
True, but again, he's a weak president. He's like a flabby, weak, awful president. I mean,
yeah.
it's Donald Pleasance, but he's playing a bit of a politician rather than an actual strong leader.
Yeah, because Samuel L. Jackson thing seems to be more about like some idea of being a man. I guess playing around with the idea that
Well, it's indicated that he knows how to talk a good game but not live up to it.
yeah, and I think that's what's going on there. I think there's an idea of that we're separated from the politicians, right? They are others. You know, they're not quite real. They don't really care about things. They know how to talk and they know how to get what they want, or rather they know how to achieve power, but not what to do with it.
Right.
Not how to be a real human being, basically. And I think what's nice about the whole movie is essentially it's about a politician who learns to become a human being again.
Right.
In a way, I think that's one of the reasons that it draws us in, is that it's playing with everybody fucking hates politicians. We all hate politicians.
Right.
And here's a real one, falling out of the sky, literally,
Right.
and behaving in exactly the way you would imagine a weak-willed, only knows how to talk politician at the beginning.
Right.
But then when he's confronted with the kid, and there's a feeling of, well, whatever's going on here, we're in this together, that humanises him, and then he becomes an everyman,
Right.
which is really, really nice. And everything he does has that everyman quality, because it's not like he's a great fighter or there's any real acts of great courage. He just, he endures, to some extent, people feel like they have to endure while the politicians are above them, flying around in their private planes, drinking their, sweet champagne and all the rest of it, while we, on the ground, we endure and struggle.
Right.
And here's this guy brought down to our level, enduring and struggling with us.
I wouldn't mind if this director took over from Emmerich when Emmerich
Yeah, that would be fine with me.
stops dwindling.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
got
yeah.
a real Emmerich sensibility, I think.
Well, yeah.
Certainly the whole bit at the beginning with don't tell the First Lady about him having a cookie.
Yeah,
and
no,
then Ray
touches like that.
Stevenson says, if I've learned anything from a near-death experience, it is that life's too short and you should have a cookie if you want one.
That's when I think that's when I knew. I was I'm not sure. And then that line, because it wasn't the greatest line ever, and I was wow, I've never heard anything like that before. Yeah, but that's what you've done is a cliche, but that worked, and they don't always work.
Right.
Have a biscuit, Mr. President, or I'm going to take these back to First Lady, or whatever. But it's just life's too short not to have a cookie, And it was just nice, and I believed it, and I believed them, and it was just a really nice moment.
So, resounding thumbs up from
Yes.
us. To quickly, just as we wrap up this episode, which is coming up on the hour mark, to quickly wrap up the episode, so we'll do the last 5 minutes, the big twist. If you want to watch this movie and you don't want it spoiled from the beginning, turn off now. Go watch it and come back and listen to the last 5 minutes.
Turn off now.
The big...
They were promised a jingle. They don't get a jingle?
I'll do
too
one
tired
and
for a
then
jingle?
I'll do one and I'll add it later.
Alright.
I'll do it live. To quote Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly?
Yeah, he's the one who flipped out. His behind the scenes flip out YouTube video is from when he was first he hosted some kind of magazine program.
Right.
And he was meant to be introducing, I think it's someone really innocuous, like Sting or someone,
Right.
to play out the show. and he didn't understand the copy. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, coming up next, his sting with, I don't know, Arse of Gold or whatever. And he didn't understand, he was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And he like totally flips out. He's like, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Like, he starts swearing and throwing paper around because he can't read some simple copy on a prompter.
Wow.
You've never seen this before?
No, I've never seen it before.
Okay.
He's a real piece of work, isn't he?
Oh, he's a total arsehead. I love the way they go, but why can't we be bigoted against gay people? Like, that's our right? Like, that's literally what Fox News have been doing all week since the announcement. They've literally been going, but we were kind of enjoying sort of segregating and bullying them. Is that not something we can do? Like,
who are we supposed to hate now?
Better burn some churches, I suppose.
The Arabs are miles away.
Yeah, right. Gays on our doorstep.
We could get them on, I could yell at them.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but... Yeah, I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Ready? Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out?
Sting is going to do, it's a video, Sting video.
What is...
For credits.
I don't know what that means, to play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay, in 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a... I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Right. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Oh, here are the spoilers that we promised at the top of the show. We're talking about the spoilers. They're the things we don't think that you want to know. So if you intend to watch this film, or if you just don't care no more, then turn off now. Stop listening immediately. We're talking about the spoilers. Oh, those things we talked about at the top of the show. It's the spoiler moment.
So anyway...
but the big twist, sorry.
The big twist at the end is, and it's sort of a double twist.
Yes, it is.
It's that halfway towards the end, when we're not really sure what the terrorist plan is, except to kill and stuff.
Yeah, because you don't believe, even though it's like, it's really nicely done, because you don't exactly believe that the psychopathic guy is only doing this as like a big game hunter.
Right.
But he's so rich and psychopathic that he's decided, if I'm going to hunt him, I'm going to hunt him President of the United States.
Right.
I'm going to, whatever.
And you know that Stevenson doesn't fully believe in what this other guy is wanting to do, this Rassar
Yeah, but
guy.
what's nice about it...
Hassar guy?
Yeah.
Forget what his name is. Anyway, Victor Garber is the vice president. You see Victor Garber notice Broadbent texting.
And then a few minutes later...
So sure enough, Broadbent is revealed to be behind this plot. And it's kind of like half-assed revealed that the plan is to convince the world that the war on terror is not over and that we still need our intelligence and security agencies. Because maybe we're meant to think that old Broadbent is being put out to pasture. And this was meant to be his chance to show everybody, look, I can do the business still, even though I'm a sandwich chomping, cardigan wearing old fool.
Yeah, I mean, it's the usual thing of, you know, in order to protect America,
we have to perpetuate the Smiths. So they were going to make a martyr out of the president. They were going to document everything on video like the terrorists do. They were going to show him being martyred, and then that was going to incite people to want to continue hunting people from around the globe. It turns out that not only is the psychopath from Saudi Arabia actually one of their operatives, but not only that Jim Broadbent was in on it, but that Victor Garber as the vice president was in on it.
Sorry. I was confused. It's just all you're doing is just describing the end of the film I just saw. I get why that's good for the people at home, right? But you'd understand why I might drift away briefly and wonder as to the fate of my tea, as one might wonder to the fate of Victor Garber. You don't need your tea now, so. No, I don't. It's too late now.
So anyway, so Victor Garber was the vice president who obviously wanted to really be president, because apparently all vice presidents just want to be president. I imagine that's probably true, actually.
I don't know why you consider that to be like an unreasonable narrative leap.
No, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. So he's in on it, and he's very disappointed that it goes wrong. They meet in a bathroom, plot reveal, and then, shock of all shocks,
which was very cool.
Jim Broadbent bangs his head down onto the sink casement, cutting his head open and killing him instantly, breaking his neck basically. Then puts soap on his shoe and soap on the floor as if he'd slipped and hit his thing, and then wanders out of the bathroom. And we even waited till the end of the credits because we wondered if there was going to be another scene. Also, the lights didn't come up in the cinema, which is often an indication of there being an after-credit sequence. No after-credit sequence. So although Jim Broadbent was revealed to be a bad guy, he actually walked out of the movie.
Got away with it. Totally got away with it.
Which actually adds a whole new thing to the movie for me. And because it's not only a kick-ass B movie, but it has a daring, ambiguous ending. Not ambiguous ending, a daring...
Like a morally ambiguous ending, I guess?
Yeah.
The bad guy is not punished.
Right.
Like, the politician... I guess you could argue, if we're gonna go for one reading of the film, right, which would be an incredibly pretentious reading of the film, but I think there's something to it. The idea of...
Look out, kids. Here comes the pretentious reading by Jim. Jim's going to get deep on your ass.
No. It's what I said before. Don't say I'm going to get deep on their ass. It's just unpleasant. It's what I said before about the politician, being brought down to the level of the everyman, where he must struggle and become one of us. That the only guy that gets punished is the vice president for his ambition.
Right.
The CIA analyst is not punished because presumably it wasn't. I mean, it was. He set up.
But he's still trying to protect his own job.
He's trying to protect his own country in his head. It wasn't that it was a bad plan.
Because Hassar, whatever, actually says, if it helps, I'm actually with you, Mr. President. Like he actually was doing it.
Right. And you're right. And what was cool about that is you didn't get the impression when he said if there's any consolation, I'm with you, Mr. President. I'm on your side, whatever. I didn't have a reaction to that of like, oh, he's all twisted up. He's got his.
The only people who were greedy.
Yeah, you probably are.
The only people who were greedy and didn't have like a greater good in mind, even though it was a twisted greater good, were Stevenson and Garber, and they both bought the farm.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's very true. And I think that is, like you say, I think...
Because Stevenson was shooting at him even after... Like, he got rid of Hassar and he was shooting at them even after... like, he left them all to die because he was like, to hell with it.
Yeah. It was a nicely ambiguous... Not ambiguous, morally ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
That made you... Yeah, again, it didn't feel me like... Oh, it's like left you with a... Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It was just like a nice little...
But it wasn't super clever. It was just...
No, it's just like, this is probably how it would go down.
Yeah.
No way, they're not going to...
But also the fact that Broadbent got to do some, like, mad leg sweep thing and still shuffle out of the bathroom having, like, roughed up his hair.
Oh, he did. He, like, roughed it to make him look like a bit of a... That was kind of cool. Yeah, you're right. It's like, so... He can kill a man in a second. But likes to wander around.
CIA
he's the greatest CIA of all time.
Of all time.
And
but he's Jim Broadbent.
And I guess that's what we saw him doing.
I've got to applaud that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, that's a wonderful place to leave it.
Thank you very much for having me on again.
It's always a pleasure, sir.
Enjoyed the hell out of it, as always.
Let's get the check and wrap it up.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so some really exciting news to end this week's After Movie Diner. The next in a series of 10-track long musical albums that I've been releasing this year has been finished. And, you know, I don't want to be or come across as egomaniacal or blow my own trumpet or anything like that. It really isn't meant that way. But it is one of my favorite albums that I've ever done. I'm exceptionally proud of the songwriting on this, and I just think it's a really great piece. I hope everyone enjoys it when they get to hear it this week. Hopefully, this episode will be coming out Monday, July 6th. The album is hopefully going to be released either July 7th tomorrow or July 8th. That's Wednesday of this week. It's going to be called Bad Time Banjolele. It's going to be 10 tracks plus a bonus track plus several bonus demos, all recorded and written on the banjolele, which is also the banjo uke. And I've been describing it as really upbeat, jolly songs about horrible, painful shit. So please check us out at Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures on Facebook or on misc.plumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com when the album is released. A couple of other people have heard a few tracks off it. They have also been hugely complimentary and said some great things about it. So it's not just me. I really think it's going to be a special album. It's being released this week. That's very exciting. And to kind of whet your appetite, I'm going to play sort of 3 or 4 tracks off the album, but just sort of 30-second glimpse of 3 or 4 tracks off the album at the end of this show, and hopefully encourage you to rush out and buy it when it comes out, as well as tell all your friends and share it around and everything. I'm going to do a huge push for this album, so I'm sorry if you're already sick of me promoting stuff, but it's not going to stop. I really, really, really want this album to be as big as it possibly can be, so I'm going to do a huge push in the coming weeks. But you guys are going to be the first to hear some little sneak previews of it, which is very, very exciting. And as I say, the album will be coming out this week. So thanks ever so much. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the After Movie Diner. We'll, of course, be back next week with another 1-week indie movie wonder. But until then, I leave you with Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures.
Getting a piece of the action is never a piece of cake. Everything has an opposite and equal reaction. There's no mistake. There was nothing I could have done. My heart was always gonna break. Clutching at straws even when you know that they're all short. Try to find comfort in everything you bought, but you're not what it says on the poster, and you've been caught. Highway road, East Arizona. I knew then it was over, but something can't finish if you don't let it start. It's time to put this horse before the cart. We're losing you. The reclining seats, the holding hands, the dusty beam, the hush, the animated crest, the French restaurant under candlelight. My hands shake too much to sign, and I forget the rest. And maybe it's a tragedy that neither of us want to see. And maybe if we did not flee, we'd find our place in history. But really, dear, it just can't be. You only bring me misery, and I bring you the same I see. There'll be no ring, so I won't sing. La da la da la da la da la dee. I'm a sucker for a rainy summer day.
sucker for a redhead. I'm the one who can't let a bad thing go. I'm kicking the dead. We are the resilient misfits, clawing at the girders of the overhead train. We're not in this just because there's something to gain. I'm stamping my feet, I'm burning the beat, I'm turning the cheek. So you think you're clever, but I'll still deliver at the end of my tether. Take the Pontiac out to San Clemente. You've got friends out on Data Point. Get all torn up on rum and cheap Chinese. Make some coin in an old pool joint. Fill your shoes up with California sand. Before the rains come, before your last stand, fill your pockets with California air. You may not love me anymore, but I don't care. Let the Pacific sunset on the hood of this once proud car. I will fall asleep here, counting the waves up against this bamboo beach bar. Maybe I'll head up the coast sometime, find some shade amongst the redwood trees, or stumble my way down to the Point Reyes lighthouse, salt my hair and cheeks with sea breeze. Fill your hair